You know, we remember speaking before the game about West Brom, easy game, they're going down, they're relegated, and we had a collar felt badly. So I think that may be a sharp reminder and maybe a timely reminder that things were going exceptionally well for us, but there is still some work and a lot of work to be done. So it's get your business head on today, get back to what's important and get 3 points.
Completely right. And Claire, like Jason's already mentioned, Liverpool 1-1 at the moment at Anfield against Aston Villa. Leicester and West Ham play each other tomorrow. Manchester United and Spurs. There's games around us this weekend that I suppose make today even more important that we get our business done.
Exactly, Joe. And I think for me, it's about just getting the result. I don't really care how we play as long as we get the win. I think the last weekend of the embarrassment of the loss, I think the way we responded has been fantastic. Actually, what I really want to see today is kind of the winning and battling and continuing with that fight and desire that we've shown previously. And look, it's about the reaction, isn't it? And we've got the depth in the squad to do that, I think.
Just something I've noticed it, chaps. Sorry, I've got a feed here from Premier League Productions, and Tammy Abraham is doing the interview, which generally tells you that the player that does it starts. So just something I've just noticed in front of me here.
Well, we'll have team news, obviously, as soon as we get it from Selhurst Park for you right here on the Fifth Stand. Zach, just on that, because Jay and Claire have both made the same point about, I suppose, not letting that complacency slip in. But also, you know, we have got a big squad. We've got a squad that's very capable of rotating and using a couple here and there. Manchester City have done this already today and rested a few ahead of a Champions League games. And, you know, they've felt the pain of that. So I suppose that's something to look across, is to make sure that whoever does get the nod today has got very much a job to do, and to make sure that we don't let any sort of complacency slip in.
Yeah, it's about being respectful as well to your opponents. You can't just put out a second-string team and hope it all comes together. You've got to be respectful to them and aware that whatever happens, they could theoretically beat you possibly, and if you aren't all focused. We saw that maybe partially last week against West Brom. Actually, I thought Chelsea got a little bit lucky in terms of the whole weekend, because with the way other results went, it didn't actually end up that bad apart from West Ham's result. But today, that's, as you said, Chelsea and probably City as well are probably the two biggest depths in their squad, the quality of depth in their squad. Whether it's Callum Hudson-Odoi, whether it's Christian Pulisic, whether it's Timo Werner, Tammy Abraham, Olivier Giroud, you name it, Kai Havertz. They are all quality players. I mean, I feel like I've just forgotten some as well there, so I do apologise to say. Marcus Alonso, Ben
Me, Zach, I've got my kit on today.
There yeah. Everyone. But you get the point. It's such a depth, and not even just in an attacking sense, in a defensive sense as well, whether it's Zuma, Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva. Really, the only mainstay there is normally Azpilicueta. And so we have the quality there, but it's just about making sure that we aren't going into the game thinking we're going to win this, we're going to take 3 points home. We are respectful, and as Jay said, kind of in the pre-match build-up, Crystal Palace, depending who turns up, aren't a bad side.
Well, I think it shows, really, because all of our predictions are very kind of sparse, really. I mean, it's a new month as well, pretty much. So it means a good opportunity for you to get involved with Play Predictor early on. There's a chance to win a £100 Megastore voucher and a signed shirt as well. Last match, Willie from Kenya top scored with 95 points, which, if you've seen any Play Predictor so far this season, or even had to go yourself, you'll know that is a very, very good total. So make sure you get your predictions in. You've got a couple of minutes yet. 4:30 is when the deadline closes, to get yourself on the Fifth Stand app for that. Here's what we've gone for. We're just focusing on the final score, of course. And as you can see, all of us a little bit spread out. Jason's gone 1-0. Myself and Claire have gone 2-0, and Zach's gone 3-0. Jace, like Zach's already said there, and you said in our pre-match, they are a little bit, you're not really sure what to make of Crystal Palace. On some days, they're brilliant, and Wilfried Zaha is causing teams problems. On another day, like the Liverpool game, they get beat 7. Like, you really can't tell with them.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is why when we go into it, we've got to make sure that we are our very best that we can, because you don't know what they're going to turn up like. And they've shown over the past they can be a difficult side to beat. They can be a really tough nut to crack, especially under Roy Hodgson. Now he's got his knockers, and there are people certainly out there that don't believe he's going to be a manager next season. He's obviously reaching an age now where retirement may well suit him better. But one thing's for sure, he knows how to set up a side defensively, incredibly well organised, to keep Crystal Palace in this division. If you look at their budget, the money they haven't spent since he's been here, it's quite remarkable, really. But the reason they haven't been relegated is because they actually quite a difficult side to score against. So they can be. They're also a side that you just don't know what you're going to get. So I'll go back to what I said a minute ago with the risk of repeating myself. We've got to make sure that we are the very best version of us today, because if Crystal Palace are the best version of us, the only way we're going to beat them is if that Chelsea side turn up. Maybe, you might get away with a performance this is under par if Palace don't turn up. But again, go back to the point I made, it's such a big game for us, this one. Do not underestimate. We cannot afford to drop points against West Brom and against Crystal Palace and see teams around us pick up points and expect to finish in the top 4, because at this stage of the season, and Claire's right, it's all about the result. Yes, you want to see a performance, but today is absolutely about the result.
Completely right. I tell you what, I want to match yours up then, Claire, with our hot topic one, which is Porto reaction, because I suppose today's a little bit of a carry on from midweek in terms of, we got everything right. It was a brilliant away European performance from Chelsea, obviously, to take a 2-0 lead into the second leg, which was an away leg, even though it's both on neutral grounds. But when you come off the back of a big result like that as a player, does that give you an extra boost, an extra 10% going into the weekend?
I think it was the perfect response. It's kind of a push in the right direction. It's a reaction. You have to put it to bed quite quickly. And I think we learned quite a lot in that Porto game. Once again, Mount was fantastic, leading the way. But to not dwell on it too much, and it's hard not to when you're a fan and you're kind of analysing it, but you have to move on straight away. And I don't think Tuchel would have focused too much on that, especially because of the importance of the midweek game. And just going back to how important this game is, what Jason was saying. Palace on no pushovers at all. I really do feel like that we have to get everything right. We have to work hard, and we really need to make sure we're at our best. And if we're not, I don't want to kind of fall back in where we were at West Brom. Sorry.
No, completely right. And I suppose that's it exactly, Zach, isn't it? Mason Mount is a great point to lead on there, because like Claire said, games like today are as important because of the work you've done previously, and also because of results that have gone in the past. Today is as important as midweek was, and as next weekend is, and as is midweek as well. So when you've got players like Mason Mount, let's focus on him a little bit, because he was superb in midweek. He's always superb. When you've got big games that are coming again and again and again, and you've got players like Mason Mount in your team that are delivering on those biggest games and those games when you need someone to step up, how much of a positive does that give you?
Oh, but if you had 11 Mason Mounts in one team, you'd win the league. Honestly.
What's he like in goal?
We'll test it. But honestly, he's taken it to a next level. Last season, we saw the beginning of a really up-and-coming academy player, and we were all loving it, seeing him come into the squad and playing in that midfield. It was really nice to see. But this year, he's taken it up. He's not just a guy that's in the Chelsea squad. He is the guy. He's the player that if you need something to happen, normally it's coming through him. You think about the Liverpool game, the big game that we needed to win, and he's the one that scores the goal. You think about the Champions League game against Porto, right? The one that happened midweek. Lovely turn, brilliant finish. Everything right now, he's kind of getting that. I don't want to give it to him just yet because it's a big title to have, but that Drogba-esque role, where you need someone to step up, it's going to be him. And the fact he's only 22 years old and that he could be playing, for another decade at Stamford Bridge, it's brilliant to see. And just, watching him when he has that captain's armband on in the FA Cup and other games, he's such a talented footballer, and he's improving year on year at the moment. Every single year since he's come through as a professional, he gets better and better, which is frightening for what's to come in the future, to be honest.
Completely right, mate. Well, the Chelsea players are arriving now. Obviously, it's only a short little trip. I think less than 10 miles between Stamford Bridge and Selhurst Park. I mean, I don't think it's too different from where you were this morning, Jace, but you're nice and wrapped up warm for us. I hope Ben's got the memo as well, because Ben is pitch side at Selhurst Park for us. He's not got a hat on, which a little bit worries me about your previous weather prediction, Jace, because you said it's freezing cold there, mate. Ben looks like he's struggling. I've got him sideways at the moment, Ben. Sorry, mate, if we can try and...
This is the
I did send Ben a message telling him it's very cold today. I sent him a WhatsApp because I've warned him, so it's only himself to blame.
Well, he's giving you a pat on the back there, I suppose. Then Jay, he's allowing that. Ben, you've got some team news for us, I believe, mate.
I have. It is ridiculously cold for the middle of April. Honestly, it is madness. 3 changes from the Porto lineup, folks. One at the back, Zuma in for Christensen. One at wing back, Callum starts, so that's interesting for Reece James, obviously on the right. And the other one, maybe the most interesting of all, is up top. All 3 strikers are on the bench. Christian Pulisic is in for Timo Werner. So it's a front 3 of Mount and Havertz and Pulisic, who you might recall had a bit of a blinder and scored a great goal, that goal over there actually, in July, in a game that we thought would be nice and quiet, and ended up being a 3-2 ding-dong. It was madness. So yes, across the back there for it is Azpilicueta, Zuma and Rudiger, Hudson-Odoi and Chilwell are the wing-backs, Kovacic and Jorginho, and that front three I just told you about.
Ben, I'm putting it on you a little bit here, but did this kind of lend its way to think that Havertz will be the furthest forward of the three there?
I think probably yes. That would be my guess. I'm going to see if I can see anyone to ask. Hilario won't know, he's doing the key. I mean, that was it, wasn't it? Against Porto as well. It was Kai kind of free-ish and Timo left-ish. So my guess would be Pulisic from the left, yes. It's interesting, isn't it? He's got all three of his strikers, but none of them are starting.
Chase, I suppose that's it's a little bit of an opportunity as well for, because games, like we just mentioned, games are coming thick and fast, and they're all big games now. You got an FA Cup semi-final in the week, you've got a quarter-final of a Champions League. So whenever you get the opportunity, whether it be Callum at wing-back, whether it be Zuma into the back three or Pulisic up top, if you take your chance now, you've got a very good chance of starting some very big games.
It does feel like that, doesn't it? That chance comes, take it, and move on. You might not get the next game because he might have his team already selected. And I find often managers have a team selected for the game again, and they pick this team based on what they want to play the next game. But I felt Havertz struggled a little bit up top. I don't think he fully understood. And this is not a criticism of him. I just think maybe that the position doesn't suit him, and that role. And I remember, feeling and saying to you guys at half time against Porto, I felt Giroud had to come on because we were struggling to get out and struggling to. Today's different. Today's different because Crystal Palace will not do what Porto did. Crystal Palace will not press. They will not play high up the pitch. In fact, I'm not expecting them to. So therefore, that ball naturally doesn't have to be played high. So there's the thinking. My guess is that because we don't have to play that long ball that we would normally play to Giroud, where he would then be a fight ball between Gary Cahill, and whoever they're playing at the centre half. Today's different. So today we do need those little players, but the position now, the role, it's almost like we've got three number 10s, and whoever is furthest forward, it's got to be fluid. Whoever is in that position is then the striker. So it's a different role for Havertz today than it was what was asked of him against Porto.
Claire, who do you think needs a performance today? Because like Jason's alluded to there, you've got a couple of players that perhaps have, maybe been given an opportunity today, three strikers on the bench like Ben's told us. So if you're one of the front three, I assume you're thinking, well, if I don't score, if I don't play well, if I don't contribute, then there's three players that are on the bench that straight away can come in as a straight swap. So who are you looking at today to get something out of?
I think, just touching on what Jason was saying about attributes matching the game, the little short, sharp passes, the interlinking play. I don't know whether it'd be like a false nine or 3-10s, I don't know what you want to call it, but I think Jason is right with whoever's kind of available in that position, actually capitalising on that. For me, Pulisic, I really want to see him do well. I want to see him score. I want to see him be consistent and get in the flow of things. And I don't know why I really do have like a soft spot for him. I think because he always seems like he tries his hardest and is always trying to create things, and it's not quite working out for him. And I do think moving forward, I think today might be a great opportunity for him to do so, link up with Havertz. And I think that, we'll see. Hopefully we get on the score sheet, all of them be scoring. So
yeah, that'd be nice. But Ben, you've already alluded to the fact that Pulisic, he's one that we're eyeing up, but he had a great performance there after restart in the summer at Palace. And I suppose when you've got one or two players, a little bit of tired legs, we're obviously travelling in and out, and travel's not like it was a year and a half ago. It's obviously a lot more protocols and things you have to get over and get across. It's 72 hours or so between Porto and today. So bringing someone in as fresh as Christian Pulisic, that's a big positive for Chelsea.
Yes, I hope so, and I hope that manifests itself here. Because, that goal he scored the other day was his first goal in 20, and I know he's not only going to be measured in that, but it's interesting. His best spell of form, he's had two of them really. When Frank brought him in to start around about autumn of that season, he scored 6 in 7. He came off the bench at Ajax and then and was good and set up a goal. And Frank gave him a start at Burnley and he scored a hat-trick. And the only other real hot streak I think he's had was in the summer restart, including the game here, funnily enough. And then we know how it ended with a pulled hammy and nearly scoring while pulling a hamstring in a cup final. And he needs to get back to that. I know he's not only measured in goals and his pace is a big deal, but he was looking faster then than I think he looked before it. And than he looks now. So these are huge opportunities, and he's got to give more. I think he's almost, I don't want to use the phrase got away with it a bit, but there's been a bigger spotlight on Havertz and Werner not doing their stuff this term than there has been on Christian. But I think he's been every bit as a bit under what he would be hoping for as they have. But maybe because he was here a year before, that there's not as much spotlight on him.
I think it's a fair comment. There's plenty more build-up, of course, to Chelsea's trip to Crystal Palace with us on the 5th stand-up. So make sure you stay across that and all our social media channels as well. We'll be back with plenty more after we hear from the manager who spoke to the press yesterday in his pre-match press conference.
I'm not sure how many English players you worked with before you came to Chelsea. I just wondered what you had made of the quality of English players in the Premier League since you've been here, especially, for instance, players like Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell.
Well, there I need to talk only about, I can only talk about the players that are in my squad, and I'm very happy with the guys. We have a lot of players from the academy, but also like Chile who came from Leicester, of course, and other players. But it's a pleasure to work with them. I experienced them with excellent work ethic towards training and towards competition and towards games. They absolutely adapted over years to a physical approach of the game. They are very good competitors. They're well educated with a high quality. This is what I experience here. So it's a pleasure to have them in the team, and this is important to have also English players around, to not lose the identity, because we play in England in Premier League, and I'm very happy to have them, and I feel them hungry to learn and curious every day. Like I said, they have a good mentality. A lot of them are very young still, and they still have a way to go, but they have the package that it needs to have a long career in this club.
And just a final question from me. I think Tammy Abraham is the leading scorer at the club this season. Now that he's fit, do you think he will get more opportunities to play, especially because he still has hopes of getting in the England squad for the Euros?
Yeah, but so. Yes and no. No, just for the fact that we have I cannot do my decision based on the personal goals for the players. Kepa has also the personal goal to play for Spain, and this is good that they have these goals, but this can never influence my decisions. I'm the coach for Chelsea. I have to do what's good for us and what I believe is best for us. Tammy had a bit of a rough time because he started, I think, twice or three times and was twice substituted for tactical reasons, for tactical changes at halftime. So he could not have the impact that he demands from him and that we wish from him and that he can clearly give for us. Then he was injured and he lost a bit the connection and the possibility to fight for his place in the squad. The squad played very well without him. We had a lot of results without him, and now suddenly we enter in the decisive part of the season, where it's not so easy to bring players who were injured into the shape or to let them play. We have only 3 changes, which is a big thing and is a big handicap. Because 3 changes mean most of the time that you only have 2 changes, because the last one is one you don't want to lose too early. So circumstances are not easy, but like I always say, this is on Tammy to do everything that it's not possible to let him out. But we have a full squad now. We have 22 players on the training pitch. It's very, very hard to select the 18 players for Premier League matches, and like I said, we can only change 3 times. But in the offensive position, this is always possible to have a huge impact in only some minutes. This is very different, for example, to the situation of Kepa, and nothing has changed. We demand a lot of Tammy, he demands a lot of himself, and he's using every minute to convince us that he needs to be on the pitch, and from there we go on, and every 3 days is a match, so hopefully he stays fit and will play a key role in the end of the season.
James at Talk Sport.
Thomas, it was a tough night for Kai and Timo in Spain on Wednesday night, but will you continue to give them opportunities to get things right and prove how good they are as players? Because I don't think there's any doubting of how good they are.
Look at the games Porto played in Champions League. If you can show me any nice, fluid and pretty game of any opponent of them, we can talk again. I did not find it. They make your life very, very tough. Very, very tough. This is. They went through group stage with 13 points. You can ask in Turin how easy it was to play against them. They make your life hard, and especially for the offensive players. They had not the easiest task up front. They had a big impact defensively. They worked hard for us, both Kai and Timo, but it was difficult to find spaces. It was difficult for them to create something. So we changed after 65 minutes, but we will not lose faith, and we will not lose trust. We can accept that sometimes it's hard to have a big impact. So you have to be maybe, in both of them, maybe Timo misses a bit like his confidence in his finishing, but Kai, I feel Kyle very self-confident, and no bigger concerns. It was just for this game that we tried to change the momentum up front.
Michy Batshuayi scored for Crystal Palace on Monday, but he's obviously unavailable for this game, and he's one of around 30 players on loan from Chelsea. What do you make of the loan system at the club? Because many of these players are unlikely to play for Chelsea again, if not at all.
Yeah, we cannot have a squad of 50 players obviously next season, so it's not so easy, because we have a lot of players on loan who have a lot of quality and have big influence in the clubs where they play. We are not so long in the club that we are still getting to know our team better here, our 22 players. So it's not so easy to have the full picture in detail right now about everybody on loan. Of course, we know everybody, and of course we have a general overview, but it's not into details. And on loan, you always have the trouble in translating the performance into your league if they go abroad, or into your club if they play for another club like Crystal Palace. Would it be the same impact here? Is it you see sometimes performances because a player plays very regularly and has his 90 minutes all the time? Can he give the same impact if he's coming from the bench? So this translation is very, very difficult to make, and I would always prefer to see everybody and to meet everybody personally in a pre-season. Let's see how this works out, and at the same time I respect the policy of the club. I can totally understand that the club has the last word in what we do and what can happen with the players. I'm not totally aware of every contractual situation, but I'm very relaxed about it. We know that we have strong players out there, and yeah, let's see if the market gets complicated in summer. We have a big pool of players to pick from.
And just finally from me, Thomas, Roy Hodgson is 73 years old and still going strong as a Premier League manager. Do you think that you'll still be in football management when you enter your 70s?
I don't know. I will not say no. I mean, if right now I just feel it again and again that this is a big part of my personality to be in football and to work in football and to be on the pitch and to be around, to be part of a staff and be part of a team. If it stays like this, I think it's not a matter of age. It's a matter of energy. It's a matter of how much energy you can still give, how much energy it gives you. So if you are fit, it's not a matter of age. Like I said, I'm proud to be at the sideline with him. He's a big personality, a great character, very, very absolute gentleman when I first met him. Very, very kind and respectful, and has a big career. So it's a big challenge to be at the sideline with him, and can only repeat, it's not a matter of age, it's a matter of energy and quality.
Okay, I've got time for two more. Chris at PLP and then Nizar to finish. Chris?
Thomas, good afternoon. Just a couple from me. First of all, what has the last week taught you about your players that maybe you didn't know already? I think of the West Brom performance that you didn't see coming, and then the way you came back in the second half, maybe against Porto in midweek. Did you learn about your squad more in the last week?
Yeah, of course, because we learn. It's my job to learn every day and to learn from every game, especially, and from every situation that we have to face. I don't have the big conclusion after the two games and the up and down, the down and up we had in terms of results. But of course, it's important to share experiences, and this is important for me to make my experiences with the team, and to share them. So it was the first time that we lost, and was a big loss, and an unexpected loss in a kind of a weird game. And so we had a lot of positive results and experiences together, and it was important for us to adapt to this situation and to react on it. And I could feel the reaction, even though it was not like obvious, like the best match that we ever made together. Of course not, but maybe it's also not possible given the circumstances of a quarter final in Champions League, and accepting the difficulty that Porto can cause to any team in Europe. But I felt the reaction clearly after the game. I felt the reaction in training before the game, and I could feel that we want to have immediate bounce back. And I'm very happy that we could make it happen, that we could escape again with a clean sheet. We were a bit lucky in some situations in the game, but that was also necessary. And like I said, it's also important for us now that we went through this and hopefully can start a winning streak again.
And given how close the race for the top four in the Premier League is, and the pressure is on now at this time of the season, what characteristics will the teams who want to finish in the top four have to have between now and the end of the season?
I think it's for us very important that we are fully focused on every challenge that we have, that we forget the games and results we had, and go and accept every new challenge and embrace every new challenge, and from right from the start. It will not gives us no advantage that we have a 2-0 lead now against Porto when we play against Crystal Palace, and to start over and over again in the end of the season. This is the challenge, and to be fully focused, but this can give you a huge boost also in self-confidence, because you don't have to. Tomorrow is not the day to fulfill all our obstacles and to reach all our all our goals. Tomorrow is only 90 minutes, so you just have to focus for 90 minutes. We don't have to think about Tuesday and then about the fixture against Manchester City. The same thing. We do it step by step, and we can rely that we are fully fit. We have full fitness. We arrive without big injuries, and hopefully it stays like this. And this should give us self-confidence, and the fact that we are able to defend as a team, and that we can always rely on a solidarity and a strong bond on the pitch, and the hard defensive work. Hopefully gives us a big amount of self-confidence to go through all these steps, even when difficulties arrive. And of course, there are teams waiting for us who play a little bit less, like West Brom during the international break. They had the chance to prepare better than we have had. Like Crystal Palace, maybe they had some hours more sleep than we had in the last days. But we need to accept it and rely on ourselves. But this is the main target, is to find a good balance between recovery, between training, and then to be focused on point and to take it step by step.
Last question, Nizar.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
You said a little bit after the last game, you mentioned that Pulisic is coming into a good moment, Christian. And you know, last season he scored 7 goals in 11 for Chelsea. He was in really good form, scoring goals and stuff like that. Do you think he can replicate that form for you? And how much is his fitness important in helping him replicate that?
I think for Christian with fitness is always important and especially for Christian because he has this huge physical impact for us in amount of sprints and amount of intensity that he can give to a team on highest level. This is one of his biggest strengths, and the other thing is that he needs to feel confident and he needs to feel calm mentally, and then he can be a huge weapon for us. He scored in the last game against West Brom. Unfortunately, the overall game and his need to go off the pitch at half time clouded the goal and the impact that he could have had with that goal. But now again, he was very close to score. He had a huge impact from the bench, and we have to take care about him that he hopefully will not be re-injured because I feel him stronger and stronger. I feel him more and more self-confident and can be a decisive factor in the next game with his speed, with his ability to dribble, and with his ability to arrive in the box in dangerous situations, and from balls from the side and crosses. He has normally the feeling to arrive and to score. So hopefully he can have that impact, and it's our job to push him there and to calm his mind, that he feels the trust and he feels confident.
I'm not sure how many English players you worked with before you came to Chelsea. I just wondered.
Nice little London derby on a Saturday afternoon. That's what we're about. I was going to say it'd be a nice spring setting, but Jason Kanté will absolutely vouch for the fact there is nothing warm or springtime about it at the moment. Let's go straight into our hot topic 2 for today, which is dealing with adversity, which I suppose is kind of the first piece of adversity that Thomas Tuchel has felt last Saturday against West Bromwich Albion. Jace, as a player, how do you handle defeat when you've become so accustomed to winning? Because we were all in the same boat, 14 unbeaten, not conceding goals. So is it a little bit more on that, the fact that you know it's so rare, you learn a bit more about the players in the last couple of days, or Thomas Tuchel will have done, because it's something new for him and something new for his players?
Yeah, it wasn't just a defeat though, was it? It was a spanking. It was an embarrassing defeat by a side that's probably going to be playing Championship football. So, yeah, I feel as though it's a blip and a one-off. And those results, as we've seen already this season, Man United conceding 6 against Spurs, Villa scoring 7 against Liverpool, Man City conceding 5 against Leicester, and we're now joined that long list of those results where they're head scratchers. And this season, maybe you could put it down to a number of things, but it's how you do bounce back. And midweek, we showed actually the side that we really are under Thomas Tuchel, conceding very few chances, didn't concede again, another clean sheet. So I think we need to remember that games like that can happen in football. Whether it's a strange season or not, those results occasionally do happen. And the bounce back is so important, especially at this stage of the season where there is no time to, especially with Liverpool leading now and 3, it looks they've gone above us, they're on 52, we're now slipped down to 6th. So there can be no time to feel sorry for yourself. The reflection on that game has had to have happened, and as far as I'm concerned, midweek has shown that we're back on the horse. But today offers a different challenge, and again, because we have to win today. A draw is a bad result. Let's not have it any other way. After what happened against West Brom, anything else than a win is going to be a bad result for us, and it's all about the points. All about getting over the line and getting those points.
Claire, I suppose there's a huge amount of credit that needs to go to the players, like Jason said there, because it did feel, and I'm not just trying to kind of dust it under the carpet, but it did feel that it was a blip. It didn't feel like it was something that was coming. I mean, we were all kind of shell-shocked, the fact that it didn't even look like conceding shots, never mind 5 goals in a game. So I suppose there's a little bit of that when you go into Porto and you put it to bed straight away. But as a player, when you're looking around at the other players going, I know this isn't something more. I know there isn't something ingrained in it. I know we're not going to go on a 5-6 game losing streak. When you get it done early, like we did in midweek, does that kind of put it to bed, or is it still in the back of your mind going into the next Premier League game?
I think the reaction is key, and we showed that we can bounce back. But it is kind of humanising of players, realising that they can't be complacent, knowing that they have to give everything every single game. In fact, actually, when we won the league for the first time, I think it was 2015, we ended up losing away to Sunderland like 5-1 or 5-2, similar result to this. And we'd gone unbeaten all season. And actually, that allowed us to push on and kind of regroup and realise that it's not just a given. You need to keep digging in, day out. And I think we saw the reaction, and hopefully we'll see another one today.
I suppose it's fairly similar to Emma Hayes' side this season as well. The Brighton defeat, wasn't it? It was complete shock. And then all of a sudden, the next couple of weeks, you win the Conti Cup, you win the Champions League quarter-final against Wolfsburg. So it's fairly similar. And Zach, this is exactly it. Like Claire said there, that I don't think kind of complacency is maybe off the table. Rightly so. We all went into it thinking we'll get it done. There was a 2-minute spell before half-time where, if it ends at 45 minutes on the dot, we go into 1-0 up. All of a sudden, we go in 2-1 down to 10 men. We have to find answers. But now we've been through that, Thomas Tuchel will have learnt a lot more about his players. And maybe, in a very, very strange way, in a season where we have these ups and downs, it might be a bit of a blessing in disguise going into the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And as I mentioned earlier, we kind of got away with one. Not that made Spurs could have overtaken us. They obviously didn't. Only West Ham really got a positive out of it. Where it could have been a couple of teams that could have got a good amount of points on the table. But yeah, you'd rather it happen now than say later on in the season. Chelsea's running actually for the moment looks pretty good in the Premier League for the next couple of games, and then our last 4 games are huge games for us, and so. Would rather happen then to West Brom, who relatively the points don't matter too much for them, than say to Leicester City or to Manchester City or Aston Villa later on in the season. So yeah, you'd rather get it out the way now than later on, because I don't know about you guys, there was a moment and silly, but I was like, I don't think we're going to lose this season under Tuchel in the Premier League. But it then kind of it got us all back to reality and made us realise this is the Premier League. Anyone can beat anyone, no matter whether you're bottom or you're top of the league. Anyone could beat anyone. And yes, a red card probably did change that game. If there wasn't a red card, maybe we do take all 3 points, but makes Thomas realise that this is the Prem. Okay, every game is massively competitive, and you've got to be ready for all scenarios as well, whether you're 10 men, 9 men, or 11.
You're absolutely right, mate. And the all scenarios it's going to work in Chelsea's favour, you hope, because we've seen how good the squad is. We've seen the depth of the squad. Competition for places is fierce in the Chelsea dressing room. One of the most competitive spots at the moment is probably left wing back, and Jason's been taking a little bit of a closer look for us at that.
Because of the system, Thomas Tuchel wants to play with 3 at the back.
If we draw
the wing backs are absolutely crucial.
Spurs
left wing back, he's got 2 really good choices. And Marcus, who's really a natural left wing back.
I'm just giving you
natural left back, has had to adapt his game. So, because the way they play, the width more often than not is going to come from those wide areas. It's going to come from the wing backs. They play high, they play wide. So delivery has got to be brilliant. And Marcus and Ben are both really got lovely delivery. Ben loves to get that ball in behind those wide areas. Marcus has got great delivery with set pieces as well from wide areas.
Sorry guys,
also,
Adam,
we've seen over the years he has got a lovely strike from distance, and on this occasion Pulisic manages to gobble that up. But because they play high and they play wide, they're going to get themselves in the box. And Ben has already scored a couple of goals this season. We saw in the Champions League how well he executed that. And Marcus really does love to get forward. Brilliant take on this occasion. He's got lovely technical ability. Now Ben has really got to learn and understand, I think he's done that very well so far, that as a left back, your job predominantly is to defend. He does that well. Left wing back is two jobs. There's the balance. There's playing high and wide like a winger, but there's also the defensive job he's got to do as well. And so far, from what I've seen, Ben has adapted exceptionally well.
Jay, so I enjoyed your analysis there, because I suppose the left back and the right wing back role are kind of the same in terms we've got options for different things. And maybe there's a case of no one's made it their own yet, but that's probably down to the fact that every time someone gets an opportunity, they tend to take it. Ben Chilwell is a prime example. It looked like for the first couple of weeks, no one was dislodging Marcos Alonso, and a left wing back, there's probably few better in the world at left wing back than Marcos Alonso. Ben Chilwell comes in, does an exceptional job. Callum Hudson-Odoi's got the same opportunity on the right-hand side today. I suppose there may be a little bit of it depends who you're up against. Maybe totally. Does Thomas Tuchel look at that?
I think the people talk about does a manager know his best 11. I don't think there is such a thing anymore as a best 11. I think it's who you play against. For example, if we play against Manchester City, I think our best 11 is different to what you play against a Crystal Palace. I just see a different approach. I see different players having different abilities, different skill sets that can be utilised. I feel when we come up against a side and defensively we need a little bit more, I think you can make a case for saying the wing backs, you could argue, are Reece James and Ben Chilwell. If there's a side that you're going to have lots of possession against and there's opportunities to get in behind, you can make an argument to say Ben Chilwell and Callum Hudson-Odoi can be your wing backs. So I think that does actually differ depending. And also, there might be games ahead that the manager's looking at. For example, we've got the game midweek against Porto. He may have his team set on that. Therefore, today, he has to tailor his team selection depending on the team that he wants to put out against Porto, which is a huge game for us. Both are enormous. So I don't want to prioritise it saying which one is bigger, because today is absolutely crucial, because if Spurs win today and we drop points, we then go down to 7th. So we can go 4th or 7th. So honestly, it's so tight. It really is. And team selection, I have to say, he hasn't got much wrong so far, Tuchel. There's one or two things that I would have done differently, and maybe substitutions earlier, maybe it's different personnel. But I've got to be honest, most of the things he has got absolutely spot on.
Completely agree. Claire, just on that, because Jason made the point there about players perhaps playing in different games in different scenarios, what's needed. Ben Chilwell maybe needs to be given a little bit more credit, I suppose, because you'll know what it's like better than anyone else here in terms of when you're comfortable playing at left back. He's probably played in a 4 all his life, and then all of a sudden he comes into a 5. He's a completely different role, completely different needs. And we as fans kind of expect him to go, you're playing 10 yards further up the pitch. Sure, there's no difference. But you've explained on this show many a time, there's so many different things that are needed from a left wing back role. And he's taken, 7-8 weeks perhaps to mould into it. It looks like he's been playing there all his life now. So there's a little bit of that as well. He's clearly been working hard on the training ground to show to the manager that he's capable and willing to do those hard yards.
I think the key kind of switch in mentality when you're playing in the wing back role is being braver. I remember when we switched from the 4 to the wing back role, and I was hesitant sometimes because I didn't know if I should be going, if I should be staying. And that's about just being able to trust who's behind you, trust your teammates, but also not getting in your own head about what you're good at and what you're not good at. You were saying that Jason was saying that Reece James and Jill are more defensive minded. I think in an ideal world, we'd like them to be good at both. But I do think skill sets are suited to different games, and that's just how it goes. And I think also that just links back into the fact, the depth and the freshness that we want to show in these games. And every single time they've stepped up. Reece James against Porto was fantastic for me. I think he really does deserve massive plaudits. And he's young, he's learning, and I think he wants to keep going and keep improving. And I just love to see that in the players.
What I love about Isaac as well is before the game, this is no secret because everyone's WhatsApp will be exactly the same, but we're all going, who's going to start here? Who's going to start there? We don't know, and we watch Chelsea as much as anyone else, and fans will be watching this doing exactly the same, watching every minute of every Chelsea game. We don't know the starting 11. You don't know what we're going to do, and that's so healthy to be in such a busy season with so many big games ahead to go, well, I don't know who's going to start here. It doesn't matter who's going to start it because everyone's so aware of their roles and gives such a different thing. Left wing back, right wing back, wherever it is, to have that competition for places is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I actually think Tuchel's done a pretty good job in most areas of giving players enough minutes. I don't think there's many players that be sitting there thinking, I've not played enough, I've not had enough minutes during this game and during the league or Champions League or whatever. I think a lot of players, especially hudson-odoi, Reece James, Alonso, Chilwell, even in the midfield, will be quite happy. And that is difficult to do with a 24-man squad of the quality that we have. Normally you have quite a few that end up being quite disappointed when you have a fixed 11. And it also keeps the opposition wondering. I'd almost guarantee that Roy Hodgson would have never thought that Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic and Mason Mount were going to be our front three. Maybe he would have guaranteed that Mason Mount would have played, but the others, you just don't know. And so for them, it's hard to kind of analyse and see, because they might have spent the week analysing how Reece James gets down the wing and how he puts his balls into the box, only to see that hudson-odoi is starting. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
I completely agree with you. I would not like to be an opposition manager trying to prep that during the weeks. It's just no good. Jay, we've already covered majority of this, but our hot topic 3 is race for the top 4. People that aren't, if you're not aware, Liverpool scored a late winner to win 2-1 at Aston Villa, coming from 1 down. So they're in 4th at the moment. That's right, Jay. And we're in 6th currently as it stands. Obviously, Leicester and West Ham play each other tomorrow. Spurs and Manchester United play this weekend as well. It's so important to make sure that games like today don't go amiss, isn't it? Because we've kind of fallen victim to the same of a lot of other teams when perhaps you don't get the right result and other teams around you don't get the right result as well. And then you're back to where you were. But games like today feel like prime opportunities to just lay down a marker and go, these are ones that perhaps you need to get over.
Definitely. Liverpool, they had to win today, Liverpool, and they did. And from nowhere, really, because they were 1-0 down. It didn't look like they were going to pick up 3 points. And now, all of a sudden, their bad run of results at Anfield has come to an end. And they can now smell top 4. They're in there right now. They've played a game more than both us and West Ham. And today's game there's a number of things it's about. But psychologically now, we've got to make sure we won midweek, but we've got to make sure we pick up 3 points today. So it's a massive game for us. And it was a huge game for Liverpool, and we're going to see Spurs play. We're going to see West Ham play against Leicester as well. At this stage of the season, it's sometimes about getting the result and finding a way to win. Liverpool today found a way to win, to pick up 3 points. That's what we've got to do today. Claire made the point in the show earlier, and she's absolutely right. I don't really care about the performance. I want to see a good performance, but it's about the result. It's about getting the job done, getting Palace out of the way, moving on to Porto next week, and then moving it to Man City in the FA Cup next week. That's what this is about. Can't look too far ahead, but just take care of business today. Because if we don't, we're then finding it incredibly difficult to naturally get into Champions League football next season.
Claire, like Jason just said there, we've got a lot of other things going on. We've got an FA Cup semi-final next week. We've got Porto in the week. You can't look past today because we've got other things going on. But there is that. The rest of the teams around us don't really have the same ambitions that we have at the moment. Liverpool obviously is still in the Champions League at the moment, but got a big tie in the week. So I suppose when their all primary focus is on the league and we've got perhaps an eye on 2 or 3 things, we need to make sure that games like today, we don't take our eye off it. And you almost play the next game in front of you and worry about the ramifications after that. Is that difficult as a player to switch your mindset to not worry about the rest of the things? Or is it a case as soon as the game arises, that's all you're focused on?
I think, as soon as you kind of end that game, you review it and then your head's on the next game, you do the technical analysis and you're focused on what they're good at and how we're going to exploit them. I think the pressure is on for us. These guys are professionals. They know what it takes to be, competing at the top level. When you come to Chelsea, the expectation is to be winning trophies, winning leagues. So it's not, something that they're shocked by. And I think Tuchel will actually be really conscious about not dwelling, we've been talking about West Brom, not dwelling on that, even not dwelling on Porto too much, moving on to the fact that Palace are dangerous. How can we nullify their threats and how we're going to do so? So for me, it is very much every game at a time and sometimes winning ugly.
Oh, absolutely right. Yeah, and I think we'd all take that 100%. Like you both said, you and Jason have both said we'll take an ugly win today. Someone that could be key for us. He's been key a lot this season. Zach is our one to watch. Edouard Mendy. I mean, it feels like a strange thing to say, but it feels like he's been here a long time, and he's only been here 7 months. You know, he's played, I think today is his 35th appearance for Chelsea, 14 clean sheets, 25 Premier League games, 7 and 8 in the Champions League. Zaki's been such an important figure for us, made some important saves against Porto, and he'll need to be at it again today.
Yeah, I mean, what a signing! Arguably, Chelsea's best of the summer. Looking at how the season's gone, I think he's also got the possibility of breaking Czech's record of, I think, 28 clean sheets in the season. I think roughly. I can't quite remember if I've got that exactly right. However, it's so impressive. I mean, when we got him, I think all of us expected, with the price tag and what was rumoured, kind of at least an average goalkeeper, and we were happy with that. We wanted someone that, compared to maybe what I've seen in previous seasons, just wanted someone a bit more stable. And he's come in and absolutely blown it. Absolutely gone far above every expectation we had for him. He may have had a little bit, I think, of this, if you can even call it that, of a little blip where he went, had a few rough games, but since then has been fantastic. I think back to the Leeds game where he pulled off that. I know he's got a tall stature, but pulled off that save onto the crossbar and kept us another clean sheet. And as good as the defence has been under Tuchel, and it has been really, really good, he's also been fantastic as well. When called upon, when needed. Against Porto, Marega, I think their Porto striker, had an opportunity where he did get in behind the defence, and he came out, used his body well, closed him down, got rid of the opportunity. And that's the thing. You can defend as great as you want in football, but it's a 90 minutes match, right? And sometimes you do just give away an opportunity, like Southampton, okay? You give away an opportunity, only one opportunity, and sometimes it goes in. But with Mendy, most of the time he seems to come out and be fantastic at stopping any kind of chance the opposition have. And he's been really, really good. And I think actually he's probably not been given enough credit where credit is due.
Jace, how important is it as a defender to have someone as consistent as Edouard Mendy behind you? How much of an extra boost does that give you when you start a game and you know he's behind you?
It's massive. As a unit, though, this is what you could argue is most impressive, is that every team in front of him changes. He had Silva playing. He had, we got who's playing today? Rudiger, Zuma, and remind me. So you've got another back three in front of him that was midweek, different to what was there. So that changes. Normally, certainly in my day, and I can't speak on half but Claire, but I'm guessing it's something similar. You would have a back five, and more often than not, a back five would be your keeper, the fullbacks and the two centre halves, and you would work as a unit, and you get to know one. That's not the case with him. That picture changes every single game. I think you've got to put that into account as well. There are parts of his game which I think can improve. I'm not sure his communication is great. When he comes off his line, he worries me. I feel he's got to give big shouts, and there's a bit of a mix-up midweek. I don't know if you remember it, where he comes off his line, and when a keeper comes off his line as a centre half, my back's to play. He is my eyes and ears. So when I see him coming towards me, he's got to take control of that situation. There's a reason he's left his line. There's a reason he's coming off. You've got to now take control of that situation. So I feel that there are parts that he can improve, but no doubt he has been an absolute such a plus to us, because let's be honest, with Kepa there, it did feel as though we were a goal down. Most games we had to score two to win it. So yeah, he's been a massive plus for us.
Absolutely right, mate. Well, hopefully he's not involved in this today. If he is, then I'll be very surprised. But there have been some stunners against Crystal Palace in the past. Let's have a look at our top 5 goals against today's opposition.
Nicely done by Kesman. Babayaro looking far post. Drogba, fantastic goal. Really well worked goal from Chelsea. Drogba's first for the club, and just as you were mentioning they had no width, they suddenly found some.
Fabregas. Brilliant passing. Cesc Fabregas for 2. What a wonderful goal. His first in the Premier League for Chelsea. It came at the end of a sumptuous move, and now Chelsea have some daylight. It's Palace 0, Chelsea 2. It's Fabregas on target.
Ferreira, who seems to have renewed attacking energy today. I don't think I can remember him bombing forward quite as much as this. Cole, now Lampard. This will surely be an effort from distance. Oh, what a goal!
Unbelievable. What a strike. Bottom corner, keeper no chance.
Here's Oscar. 2-0's a different matter altogether. Willian! Oh, wallop! Chelsea's top scorer with the best of his season so far. That is a stunner.
Okay, I've got a little quiz for us now. So this is, did I score in this one? Right, that's the quiz title. Basically, I'm going to give you a player each. You have to tell me if the player has scored in this fixture at Selhurst Park. That's the key part, right? So it has to be at Selhurst Park. So I've got 3 names for you each, maximum of 3 points. If there's a tie at the end, we'll go through it then. But I'm going to start, we'll go as I can see it. So Claire, you can start. So did I score in this fixture at Selhurst Park? Oscar, yes or no?
No.
He did, I'm afraid. He did.
Brilliant.
It's not a great start, Claire. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Not a great start. Jason, Tamuri Bakayoko.
Oh my God, he did. He scored a header.
Knowledge
yes, he did.
Pal. Yeah,
he
work,
did. Yeah, he did.
Zach, you're gonna have to wind your memory back a little bit here. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Oh gosh.
Well, surely if the others have been all yeses, this would be.
No.
Oh, Zach. Oh.
Yes, he has.
He must have,
mate. No, you've shown your working and then still fell over.
Jay!
I want to win, Zach.
Well, I mean, after the first round, you are in the lead, Jason. So, okay, Claire, back to you. Have I scored at Selhurst Park for Chelsea? Frank Lampard?
Yes, surely.
No.
Oh my!
Really?
I hate doing quizzes.
Claire, we'd have all got that one wrong.
Staggeringly, no. I've got the answers and I still thought yes. Jason, Thiago.
Not Silva. Like
not
No.
Yeah.
He scored at Old Trafford. I'm going to go yes.
I was going to say, this is Selhurst Park, mate. You're a long
Yes.
way away if you're right.
Yes.
Correct, mate. Correct.
I don't remember it.
He's flying.
I don't remember it.
You need this one to stay in contention. Ida Gudjonsson.
Surely, yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Zach, mate. Pack a bag, boy. Go home. I'm afraid it's a no. Okay, one final round. I'll be honest with you, this is only for the pleasure of the game because it's already a done deal. So, Claire, Mark Steen.
If I've said 2 yeses, I'm doing no.
Correct, it was a
yes.
no. Good.
Well done, Claire.
Jason, and for a full house, Paul Furlong.
Paul Furlong? Yeah, go on, why not?
I don't like quizzing with you. Yeah, good work.
Oh my God, you're Jesus.
Zach, Jason Cundy's already said that he's seen him at Selhurst Park today. Graham Lasso.
So I ask him for you, Zach?
Yeah, go on. No.
He has scored, mate, I'm afraid, yeah. I'll be honest here, Zach. You bring a lot to this show, but quizzing ain't it, pal. It's not it, I'm afraid.
Let's hope Chelsea are more Jason than Zach today.
Yeah, please.
I really enjoyed that. I'm going to give you a quick run through the team then of Edouard Mendy in goal, a back 3 captained by Cesar Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma, Antonio Rudiger, Callum Hudson-Odoi in for Reece James today, Ben Chilwell, Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic, and Kai Havertz as well. Jason, I'll let you go and get set for commentary.
Cheers, guys. Good luck. I'll see you at half time.
Chelsea Crystal Palace. After we hear from the manager, who had to sit down with Lee Parker.
8 games to go now in the Premier League. How do you see the race for the top 4 at the moment?
Well, it's still fully on. We missed a huge step when we started the fixture on last Saturday very early, and we were 1-0 ahead and had everything in our hands. So we missed a huge opportunity to put pressure on anybody else. So now the pressure is on us from West Ham, who are above us, and of course clearly from behind. We opened the door, so it's our responsibility, it's our fault, and now we have to deal with the consequences. The good thing is you don't need to play all 8 games now. You can play it step by step, and you can recover in between, and we arrive with an almost full squad. No major injuries right now, and I hope it stays like that. So take it step by step. Don't get lost in the results from other pitches. We need to do what is necessary to do. We have enough points to win and to fulfill our goal to end up in top 4.
It's a really interesting point because we're yet to play Leicester and West Ham, aren't we? Do you feel like it is still in our own hands?
It is. It is, absolutely. It is. And it is a difficult task that we have, and it was a difficult task when we came in. And we could steal some points, and we could improve the situation a lot. When we stepped in, it was not in our hands. Now it is in our hands because we play West Ham, but we need to produce results. And like I said, we gave away a big opportunity on last Saturday, and we need to refocus and to restart winning.
We've got 8 games to go now in the Premier League. How do you see the race for the top 4 at the moment?
Well, it's still